Today on Robeytech, we've got a lot of news to cover, from melting 4090 power connectors to AMD Ryzen product updates. We got some cool hardware and builds and gaming news. So let's not waste any time, let's jump right into it. To say the CPU war is heating up with the release of the Intel 13th Gen Raptor Lake CPUs would be an understatement. I mean, those chips run kind of hot. But like we said in last week's news episode, which you can check out right here, AMD is struggling to sell its new AM5 socket CPUs due to the large cost associated with changing platforms. Now, while there is some benefit to the newer hardware like PCIe Gen 5 and DDR5 RAM, it just hasn't been quite enough for the masses to adopt it when it's required changing every component in your system to do so. I mean, you've got a new motherboard, you've usually got new storage at that point in time, you definitely need a new cooling solution, not to mention DDR5 RAM, and then in the end, you've just, point is, it starts to stack up. And it looks like for Raptor Lake and the recent discounts to Alder Lake have been much more attractive to PC enthusiasts, thanks to the, much to the chagrin of Intel, especially when you compare that to AMD's AM5 Zen 4 CPUs. However, AMD is still dominating the competition when you include the sales of their AM4 CPUs. Now, AM4 is outselling the two Intel families by more than double. And this is largely what pushed AMD to scale back its production of the Ryzen 5 and Ryzen 7 SKUs of the Ryzen 7000 series. And this makes sense. As much as we like getting our hands on the entire 7000 series lineup, dropping the price of the AM4 counterparts looks like a surefire way to increase sales and market share over Intel. So though Intel was happy about how much attractive it is, doesn't look like it's stopping good old Team Red from gobbling up some of that market share. Now, this just shows us that supporting more than a couple of generations of hardware goes a long way towards improving sales and adoption rates of newer platforms in the long run, so Intel may want to copy AMD's homework on this one. AKA, even though we're starting to see slow with AMD and AM5, the thing is the fact that they're supposed to support it all the way through 2025 may actually end up helping AMD in the long run, much like it's happening with AM4 previously. I don't know, Meteor Lake, are we going to see a long adoption rate? We'll have to see if Intel actually pays attention. Now, while I did just say that AMD is scaling back on the production of the more budget-friendly 7000 series CPUs, it's not eliminating them entirely. Now, there was an interesting tweet coming from a Japanese Twitter user that looks for leaks and information from everything PC and CPU related. His name is @momomo_US. The tweet reads 7700 865 with a thinking face. What this probably means is that they will likely see an announcement of AMD's non-X version of the Ryzen 7000 series CPUs, and that they will probably run with a constrained TDP of 65 watts. Could this be the very straw that breaks Intel's back when it comes to having a cheap enough CPU option for the budget-conscious gamer to take the plunge for the AM5 platform? Who knows? But only time will tell, since we don't know anything more about it aside from this random tweet. But you know what? Hey, we like to do conjecture just like everybody else. Considering that Raptor Lake is selling for substantially less than Ryzen 7000 to the tune of $100 to $150, bringing in a cheaper alternative to getting your foot in the door of a new platform could be compelling enough to get users to upgrade. Now, it has been no secret that DDR5 memory is getting faster and faster all the time. When it launched, it was kicking out speeds like 4800, which was great and more than anything we could get from DDR4 at the time. But times, they are a-changing. Now, G.Skill recently posted a bit of a tech demo of their upcoming DDR5 lineup with sets running at 7400, cool, 7600, even better, 7800, that's insanely fast, and wait for it, even 8000. You heard me right. G.Skill managed to crank out DDR5 8000 speed with CL38, 48, 48, 125 memory timings with a 2x16 gig, which is 32 gigs of RAM, in an Asus ROG Maximus Z790 Apex motherboard with an i9 13900K. And they've got screenshots running mem tests to prove it. Now, when it comes to DDR5, G.Skill has that gotta go fast mentality. Now, speaking of gotta go fast, and I like that transition, ASRock is making an awesome Sonic-themed motherboard for the Z790 platform. The hardware is based on their Z790 Phantom Gaming Riptide motherboard, but they've changed up the aesthetics to fit the theme of everyone's favorite Speedy Hedgehog. Now, the specs fit the same parameters as the original counterpart with 2x16 PCIe slots with 4 slots for DDR5 memory, and it's got the LGA 1700 socket with any Raptor Lake or Alder Lake CPU will absolutely slot into. Now, it hasn't been officially listed for sale, which could mean that it's like a limited run kind of thing, but either way, I want one, and I kind of want to build an entire Sonic-themed PC around it. But you know what, is that something you guys would like to see? I mean, like, would that be something you're into? Let me know down in the comments below. Okay, so now for the story that is taking everything. So we've seen the first, now multiple instances of the Nvidia's 16-pin power connector melting the plug of the 4090. It's a bit of an oopsie right now. Now, Redditor, this is where it started, user Reggie Gacki posted on the Nvidia subreddit a picture of their 4090 with an obliterated power pins thanks to the 16-pin power cable not agreeing with the extreme bends before overheating and eventually burning up the GPU. Though the user did claim that they weren't doing any extreme bending, but here's the thing, spoiler alert, the 4090 is a bit of a thick boy, and PCs that are inside of smaller cases or even some bigger cases have that power cable right up against the glass, and that's causing it to barely fit and do these extreme bends. CableMod has come out with a statement saying that the connectors and terminals used in the newer cables and cards are much smaller than the previous generation, and that bending the wires too close to the connector could result in some terminals coming loose or misaligning with the connector itself. Now, the long and the short of it is bending it closer than 35 millimeters to the connector can lead to uneven loads or basically causing other wires to result in overheating and potentially melting that very nice and very expensive and very large new GPU. Now, it does seem that horizontal bends, which you should never do if you can avoid it, are more prone to this issue as opposed to a vertical bend that keeps all the cables in line. I'm gonna go off script here. This is happening more frequently. In fact, you're starting to see more and more of these reports kind of come up there. And actually, we do have some cables that we have begun to test that are actually not as big, are not having issues, but don't do things like allow you to overclock. We are waiting for our CableMod cables to come in so we can basically test this. I feel a product recall coming. I do. I feel a product recall coming, not on the GPUs themselves, but actually on the cables. And here's an interesting thing. Have you noticed there hasn't been another kind of drop of 4090s in a while? Could this be Nvidia waiting to basically see what they need to do in order to basically fix this? Because again, if they had to do a recall, the more cards they sell, the much larger this issue becomes. So if you're waiting for a 4090, you might be waiting a bit longer. Off of that topic, we've got a bit of Steam Deck news for you today too. Now, with the latest update, Steam Deck users will now be able to see what components your device has installed when it shipped. This is huge news for anyone that needs repairs or wants to try and fix their device themselves so they know what parts they need in order to order replacements. There's also a subset of users that are claiming that the Steam Deck running Delta fans are a bit obnoxious because of a higher pitch than the devices that are installed with Huang fans. Now, do keep in mind that this is only a snapshot of what was installed in your device from the factory, and this isn't meant to be an ongoing self-updating list of every component in your system. So if you cram a Noctua cooler in there, it doesn't automatically update ding ding Noctua cooler, or if you put your gum in there to store. Point is, this is just what you got at the beginning. I think give it time, and I'm sure that the community will find some way to basically make that happen where you can update all of the things, like even the games you played or anything like that. Who knows? We'll find out. Now, in regards to the loud fans, you might be like, wait, what? Steam does say they have a solution in the works that would add a piece of foam to the backplate of the device, though who knows how that might end up affecting thermals. We'll have to see. And finally, in news that's just awesome and just makes me happy, LEGO released a video showcasing a fully custom-built one-off LEGO Haunted Mansion brick-built PC that's running some serious hardware, complete with an open-loop cooling for the Intel Core i9 12900KF CPU and the RTX 3090. This PC build is so freaking cool, and it honestly makes me want to build a LEGO PC, though, to be honest, I cannot do the stuff that they did. You should go watch the video because it's incredible. Probably my favorite part is the spider that's inside of the water cooling reservoir. You should go check it out It's very, very cool, and I am very, very jealous. But anyway, guys, that is it for today's news this week. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Does Raptor Lake look more compelling for you than, say, for instance, AM5? And are you looking at Ryzen 5000 or anything of the AM4 genre of CPUs, given that you're seeing bigger sales there? Would a non-X Ryzen 7000 series lineup be enough to get you to jump over to AM5? And what would the price point have to be to make something like that happen? And do you also want to go fast with the Sonic themed PC? Let us know all that in the comments below. Now, while you're down there, why don't you go ahead and tap that like and subscribe button, and you know what, and why don't you turn on notifications as well, so you don't miss another video just like this. You should also go and check out all of our live streams right here on YouTube over at youtube.com/RobeytechLive, or over at Twitch at twitch.tv/Robeytech as well. We stream all the time. You should always look for the most up-to-date schedule, but usually it's Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And before you go, why not head over to your favorite social media platform and give us a follow. We're on like Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Discord to drop a follow so you can see all that sweet and PC gaming goodness we have going on. Anyways, that is it for us. Thanks for watching, and we will see you absolutely on the next one.